Hello, how are you? On Sunday, October 19th at 9:30 a.m., just half an hour after the Louvre Museum opened its doors and in broad daylight in front of thousands of visitors, a group of thieves disguised as construction workers carried out one of the most daring heists in modern history. In less than 7 minutes, they managed to breach the building, steal priceless treasures, and escape on motorcycles through the busy streets of Paris. How did they manage to bypass all of the Louvre's security systems so easily? Was it merely a coincidence that they exploited ongoing renovation work at the museum, or was there deeper planning and collusion from the inside? And what will be the fate of the treasures they stole? Hello, I'm Firas, but before we begin, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell so you receive our videos as soon as they're released. On the morning of Sunday, October 19th at 9:30 a.m., a flatbed truck with a cherry picker stopped next to the Louvre Museum building. 4 individuals wearing construction worker uniforms were on it. No one walking on the street or even the museum's security suspected them, as renovation and maintenance work was already underway in the area, making the presence of workers and equipment a familiar sight. The thieves cleverly exploited this point, choosing Sunday specifically because it is the quietest day of the week. They stabilized the cherry picker and ascended to the first floor, targeting a balcony that leads directly to one of the museum's most important and lavish halls, the Galerie de Pollen. As soon as the thieves reached the first floor window, the most dangerous and fastest phase of the operation began. Using the angle grinders they carried, they cut through the glass and entered the Galerie de Pollen in seconds, the hall which houses the treasures of the kings and queens of France. They moved quickly and precisely, as if they were a special operations unit. The first thing they did was threaten the security guards in the hall to keep anyone from moving. After that, they rushed to 2 glass display units, smashed their reinforced glass, and began quickly collecting the loot. In less than 7 minutes, they seized 9 priceless historical pieces. They then made their exit the same way they entered, returned to the cherry picker, descended to the ground, and disappeared into the crowd. However, while escaping, one of the 9 stolen pieces, the diamond and emerald-studded tiara of Empress Eugenie, fell from them. It was later recovered during the investigations. After descending, they mounted motorcycles that were waiting for them and sped off towards the south of Paris, vanishing from sight. Naturally, at that moment, alarm bells began to sound throughout the museum. Security personnel started evacuating the museum, and tourists ran everywhere, confused about what was happening. By the time the police arrived at the museum, the thieves had long since escaped, leaving behind a crime that would be described as the heist of the century. The stolen items consisted of 8 rare pieces, including a complete set that belonged to Empress Marie-Louise, the second wife of Napoleon Bonaparte, composed of a necklace and earrings set with Colombian emeralds and diamonds. They also stole part of another set made of sapphires and diamonds, originally belonging to Queen Hortense and later part of Queen Maria Amelia's collection. From this set, they took the tiara and the necklace, but in their haste and confusion, they only took 1 earring, leaving the other behind. Among the pieces belonging to Empress Eugenie was a brooch made in 1855, featuring rare diamonds once part of Cardinal Mazarin's collection, a massive diamond-studded bow-shaped brooch, and a tiara set with 212 pearls and over 1,900 diamonds. From the very first moment, it was clear to investigators that the perpetrators were not amateurs. Every step indicated careful planning. Experts confirmed that the gang had likely spent weeks, if not months, observing the museum and accurately determining the time needed to execute each step before the police could arrive. Even the method of execution was like a military operation with precision and speed. As we mentioned, they were in and out in less than 7 minutes. Even the tools they used were perfectly suited for the job, from the cherry picker that took them to the balcony, to the power saws that helped them cut through the reinforced glass. It was also clear that they had a specific target, as they went straight to the Galerie de Pollen, even though the Mona Lisa painting, for example, was only 250 meters away. This confirms that they knew what they wanted, likely looking for jewels that could be easily dismantled and sold. This has led many analysts and even the police to suspect the possibility of inside help. News of the robbery spread like wildfire. French authorities declared a state of maximum alert, and more than 60 investigators from the Major Crimes Unit were assigned to the case. French President Emmanuel Macron described the incident as an attack on heritage and pledged to make every possible effort to recover the stolen items. Indeed, investigations began immediately at the crime scene. Forensic teams swept the Galerie de Pollen and every inch of the escape route. They managed to find the crime tools, such as the angle grinders, walkie-talkies, and gloves, in addition to the tiara of Empress Eugenie, which was found damaged, a construction worker's jacket, and one of the motorcycles they used during their escape. Simultaneously, an international alert was issued through Interpol to all police agencies worldwide, with photos and precise details of the stolen items to prevent any attempt to sell or smuggle them across borders. However, the biggest fear of the investigators, which a French senator has already confirmed, is that the thieves and the jewels may have already left France. Art crime expert Arthur Brand highlighted a crucial point. These pieces are so famous that they are essentially unsaleable in their original state. No one in the world would be reckless enough to buy something so famous without being immediately exposed. Therefore, the most realistic scenario is that the thieves will try to dispose of them by dismantling them. They will go to a shady jeweler to separate the pieces, recut the diamonds to change their characteristics, and melt down the gold to erase any trace of the original design. If this happens, the historical and cultural value will be lost forever, and the pieces will be reduced to raw materials like any others. That is why the first 48 hours are the most critical period in the entire investigation, and some analysts say that if the police cannot reach them within a week, the chance of recovering the jewels will almost disappear. The biggest question now is how the thieves knew all the details that helped them execute the operation. From choosing the timing and location to knowing the exact placement of the jewelry and the security system's weak points, everything points to the likelihood of inside assistance. Crime expert Larry Lawton, a former jewel thief himself, stated that someone from the inside must have helped them. It would have been impossible for the gang to know details like the thickness of the display case glass or whether there were alarms at the balcony windows without information leaked from someone familiar with the museum. Therefore, investigators began checking the records of all museum employees, especially those with access to the Galerie department. On the other hand, the head of the museum's employee union stated that security personnel had been warning the museum administration for months about serious security loopholes and a shortage of guards, but the management had ignored the warnings. This opens the door to another possibility, that the thieves, through their own observation and study of the site, were able to discover these vulnerabilities, and the entire incident is simply a result of negligence. The Louvre robbery is an alarm bell for all the world's museums. The incident revealed a truth: even the most ancient and famous institutions can be easily robbed. The French Minister of Justice admitted failure and said that the image of France had been severely shaken. French authorities have begun a comprehensive review of all security procedures in their major museums, and experts have started proposing solutions to prevent such an occurrence from happening again. Christopher Marinello, a lawyer specializing in the recovery of stolen art, suggested that museums housing valuable jewelry should place it in reinforced vaults on lower floors, making them difficult to access. He also proposed a system for museum entry that requires a passport or ID card to complicate the process for potential thieves to scout the location before the robbery. That's all for today. Who made it to the end? All of you who reached this point are the best people. Please hit the like button before you leave so we know how many people watched until the end, and don't forget to write your suggestions for future episodes in the comments. Goodbye.